Today we're heading out of the office and boardroom and into the field, the tailgate and the plant. We have the pleasure of chatting with Jackson Fisk, founder of Goal Zero, the solution that saves lives and money. Jackson, welcome to Mind at the Table.
Thank you, Toby. Always a pleasure to talk to you, man. And thank you for the opportunity to share my story.
Yeah, we're excited to hear it. What inspired you to create Goal Zero, and what gap were you trying to fill in the safety industry?
Okay, so I love this question. What inspired me to create Goal Zero? Well, I came from oil and gas, construction coordination, worked in the field. And when I look at occupational health and safety, there's a stigma to it at, many different levels and depending on your industry. But I got into consulting and, I'll tell you the short version because we only have so much allocated time. I started using a whole bunch of different tools. I saw how the industry worked. Very traditional. We have consultants come in, charge a lot of money, leave. Hopefully they made an impact on the business. Hopefully the business takes those ideas and runs with it. There's a whole bunch of different tech tools out there. And it started off that I used to combine them all to make myself my own tech stack to be a more efficient consultant. And that was really the turning point of when I said, hey, look, there's got to be a different way to do this. And that was the true inspiration. Is I saw a bunch of tech tools that didn't really do what I needed them to do. They didn't help me as a consultant. They didn't really care. They didn't really care about the businesses. They were made as a tool or a thing or a widget. And I wanted to make an all-encompassing solution to help SMEs, because most of these are targeted to enterprise level softwares or enterprise level companies. And we don't really think of how the SME and the small business applies these type of tools. So that was the actual kickoff and starting point, was how could I create something that actually worked and specialized in helping small and medium businesses in all industries when it came to health and safety.
Yeah, I think what I've really noticed about SaaS and software solutions that are out there is when they're generated from someone who's in the field, then they're way more intuitive and way more effective. Whereas if it's developed by a tech team that's never been in the field, then it's really difficult for them to understand what will be most effective and valued by the business and the people in the business. So I can really see how having your background really helps to develop a technology that does accomplish what the industry needs. So, based on that and your past experience, personal experiences, how did that shape the platform's design and even the philosophy behind it?
Well, when I look at it again, the experience aspect, we kind of touched on traditional consulting. There's nothing wrong with it. There's amazing consultants out there. There's amazing people that really come in and help change businesses and support them. But there's a lot of noise and there's a lot of people just trying to figure it out. And that doesn't usually mean a cost-effective solution for businesses who are also trying to grow and succeed and, keep their doors open. So my philosophy when I looked at this was, well, if the government did their job properly, they would give a company every tool that they needed to succeed in business, right? So when you go incorporate a business, whether you're a sole proprietor in a corporation, they should be able to say, here's all the things you have to do. Here's the policies, here's the procedures, here's what you're responsible for. Do you accept? If not, there's a bunch of fines. But of course, we know they don't do that. So I kind of wanted to be that bridge, because a lot of people will go into business and they are experts at what they do, right? You get the gentleman who's a journeyman plumber and he goes, man, I'm really good at plumbing. Or a contractor, he wants to be a GC, or, a hotel. That's fine. They're really good at what they do. The regulatory aspect of it is usually missed a lot. So from a philosophy standpoint, I wanted to be a solution that when you signed up for us, we gave you the foundation for due diligence for everything, right? You're not looking for, you have a tool that automates. Well, we have thousands of policies and procedures for employment standards, safety, all those things that you actually need to know and educate your workers on. I wanted it all in one place and easy to access. So we take that enterprise level solution but we make it super accessible and easy for small and medium businesses. And that was truly the vision of it. It's like, how do we take a very complex idea and make it as streamlined and simple as possible? And yeah, that's been the challenge and goal the whole time.
So there's a lot of SaaS software solutions out there. If I go to Google and I go safety software or help my company, blah, blah, blah. A lot of them are saying similar things on how they help. So can you explain what makes Goal Zero different from other safety management systems that are out there?
Yeah, absolutely. And you're right. When you Google something, you're going to find so much information, which is great. Also overwhelming, right? So, like I said, from a consultant standpoint, I used to use a bunch of these tools, and I used to have to smash them together to make myself a suite of software. So when you type in safety management software, you're going to get everything because everyone has a keyword that's, their SEOs hit that and they're popping up, but they might only be an element of that solution. So we have form applications, right? Some people still do paper forms. Some people want to digitalize their forms. There is specific form apps out there. We have learning management systems, right? So we look at the LMSs. Well, they have online training. We have document management systems. We have all of these kind of elements, and some will do some things, some will do others, but we don't really have a full suite of what that was. And that's where I wanted to make my solution all encompassing. So when we look at ISO or core, right, depending on your jurisdiction that you work in, they're auditable processes, and they plan, do, check, act. We want to give that foundation that it's all there. So when we made Goal Zero, we made data management, learning management, form automation, legislation, everything to prove due diligence for your company wanted to be in one spot when we looked at that legislative compliance. The other aspect is we have, like I mentioned, documents. So any tool that I ever used will say, hey, this is how you upload a document, or this is what you do. We wanted to make sure that we had fully compliant manuals for industries to utilize. So again, when we looked at the consulting side, this is a tens of $20,000 a hit usually when you talk to a consultant to build me a program, right? No, we've built it over and over and over again. Let's give it to people. So, the last time we looked, we had 4,700 different policies and procedures for different industries, different jurisdictions in our software for companies' regular reviews. The other aspect is we also did tie in our consulting. So in it, you have a professional marketplace where you can access professionals at a fractional level or an as needed level as well. So really, when you went here, it was Goal Zero, where we talk about zero instance, environmental impacts and property damages from a safety standpoint. Our Goal Zero was, look, you don't have to go anywhere else. It's here. We're here to support you in a holistic approach that makes sense to your business. And I think that's what makes us stand out even more than our competitors that are just a widget or a tool to do a thing. We have a full encompassing solution.
Okay, that sounds great. And I get it. No, don't take me wrong, but
Yeah.
I mean, that is what everyone's looking for.
Yep.
But I don't want it to sound like a sales pitch. So can you share an experience or a success story where Goal Zero actually helped the company transform its safety culture so we can visualize the outcome?
Absolutely. And you're right. It's funny when we talk about tech or we talk about our solution, we can get pretty emotional and excited, and you have all these key points that you need to hit. Really, we want to help businesses. So I can share quite a few when we'll share a few couple. Industrial building trades unionized company. So company actually I used to manage before, going on this path of journey. And, they went from 300 craft down to 6. And, we talk about our oil booms, our economy, everything kind of our ebbs and flows. Well, when you have a company with 300 craft, you have thousands and thousands of dollars of systems. You have all of these efforts of managerial systems and stuff like that that come into place. And when you drop down to 6, you still have to make all this run. So at that time when that happened, they engaged us from what now is Goal Zero, and we fractionalized, outsourced their whole department and saved them 95% of their overhead. Right. So,
Oh, wow.
yeah, it's, when you look at it, how can you implement automation and the consulting side and still achieve a goal that you want to achieve? That is, the biggest kind of success story that we can speak to. I can give another general small business contractor. They do caulking and restoration. So when you have a 10-person company, right, depending on your jurisdiction and what you look at, you have your management team, a supervisor, and a handful of workers. Well, when you're going to work on big corporations, so you're going to go work for the Graham Constructions or the PCLs or the Suncors or whoever you want to look at, you still need an immense safety program to be able to even bid and qualify for them. Right? So we've been able to step in, help them run those programs at a fraction of the cost, help them achieve what they've needed. They've been audited by the government several times in spot audits, and they don't have a worry in the world now. So, being able to be that support mechanism for those types of smaller businesses where they didn't know where to start and they don't really have the infrastructure to run it themselves. Right. Another aspect, we had a client, incidents still happen. Unfortunately, we had a client electrocute a worker. Unfortunately, the worker lived, luckily. But when that things happen, it triggers a very intense government investigation, right? So we were able to, when the government came in and they want to come in heavy with fines, penalties, all of these things, we could prove from a due diligence standpoint for the company and got them from like $150,000 in fines to a warning letter because our system could prove that due diligence aspect to, hey, we've actually trained workers. We've assessed hazards. We've done inspections. Here's all of our points where we've covered absolutely everything they need. And then unfortunately, that incident happened. The company could still prove their due diligence from their end that, there's something to fix, but then we can actually set those targets to fix that culture and implement change on an ongoing basis. So how do we adapt that training? How do we adapt the leadership outlook? How do we put those proactive, leading indicators in place better than the lagging ones? So all of that is encompassed in what we do.
I love the last example, especially because it really pulls it all together. A question I'll ask is, and I'll circle back to this as well, but in one of the examples, you're talking about the cost savings and how a company was able to effectively eliminate a bunch of positions, save a ton of money, which is important to businesses because the margin compression in business these days is existential. Like it's impacting businesses' ability to stay open, right? So no one's employed if a business goes under in that business. So they have to find ways to be efficient. But then there's also the human side of it. And so in that last example, we see an example of how you're giving the tools and resources to your staff, to employees or to contractors who come on site, to even customers from some perspective, that's going to keep them safe. And so even though incidents happen, you have the ability, which also is a cost savings because you have the ability, obviously, to avoid penalties and fines and everything else. But that's a demonstration that you're taking care of your people. You're giving them the right resources and tools. Otherwise, the fines would have been applicable. But coming back to the question, so how do you balance automation with the human side of safety?
It's truly a balance. You're not going to you can't take, well, let me say this. People will say you can automate 90% of a program, and we can do that with our tool. We can automate everything. The human element is still needed for every aspect of health and safety because now it's a cultural aspect. right? So you need to still empower, engage, train, mentor people in your business when it comes to health and safety. Now, we do this more of an approach from the management side, right? So it comes from the top down, and anyone in safety will talk about this, is if your management and leadership don't do it, then don't expect your workers to. So, we have programs where this is where we come in now, and we work with companies from that fractional level or as needed level, where you can have those high level touch points on, okay, this is how we implement, this is how we change culture, this is how we improve, right? Your system will automate, this is how we can tweak it, this is how we can make it better and have your KPIs and all those things that come into business. But it is a balance, and every business is a little different, right? Some need a lot more hands-on approach, some need just little touch points, and it's working with the business owners and the leaders once they're in our ecosystem, to understand what that need is for them, and then give them a tailored solution to help them, right? So it's not one size fits all, as much as you would like it to be from a business standpoint on the repeat. It's truly making that human connection, and then guiding and being that trusted partner and solution for those companies.
Yeah, and I think, one of the things that, obviously Hyperion Business Solutions is doing is providing fractional resources, and there seems to be a shift. This isn't a negative impact on the human aspect. It's allowing people who worked within one business to maybe now start their own business and help many businesses. And this is where I see Goal Zero and other SaaS solutions that are out there have the capability to allow some of these consultants not to be scared of that technology and that technology displacing them, but driving the highest value for their clients at a cost-effective price, and being able to service more clients at once, so that it's not impacting your bottom line. So I really see the value in and the approach that you're taking from a human and a technology standpoint. Now, next question is something you and I have known each other for a while, and we've had lots of discussions. We're both founders, and so some of the challenges we chat about offline. I'm going to ask you a bit of a question around that. So, what are some of the biggest challenges in building Goal Zero, and how did you overcome them?
So, biggest challenge.
Or have you overcome them?
Yeah, no. Well, we'll say you're always moving forward. The challenges in business are never ending. Right? I like to say that it's the same concept as, like, if people say I've never lost a fight, you've never been in a fight. There's challenges every aspect and step in your business, and when you overcome one, you're just going to find another, right? So we have to keep pushing forward. Biggest challenge I was starting was, I'm a non-technical founder. I'm not an IT person. I'm not a coder. I'm not a developer. I'm a technical manager, implementer, and consultant. So coming into the tech side was the biggest challenge, learning it, right? Like, understanding tech. I did not have a clue when I went through my first dev team to my third, right, on what that would look like on implementing a tool. You really don't know what's involved in actually rolling out a software, right? The other thing I didn't understand was what an MVP was, from a business standpoint of looking like, hey, what's that minimum viable product we can go and make money with? I went, hey, I need it all, right? Because in my brain, the way that safety and due diligence and all this stuff works is, if I don't have it, then I haven't met that standard. So that was my biggest challenge, was like, okay, when is that kind of the first rendition ready, right? And get out of your own way to start implementing and getting real world data and people to test it. So that was a challenge. We overcame that with time, unfortunately, right? That was just, eventually you realize that it works. The other aspect is, like every other business, is letting people know we exist in an effective manner, right? So how do you educate people on, look, you can do this differently? Right? Because there's a lot of stuff out there. Like you said, you type something into the computer and you're going to get overwhelmed with data. You're going to get overwhelmed with solutions or people that say they can help. And you go, how do you break through that noise and realize that there actually is a different way to do business now, and a different way to take care of these needs? So that's an ongoing challenge, and I think every business goes through that as well. So it's always that adapting the messaging, the getting in front of the right people, and that's just part of growth.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we live some of the same challenges as we discussed before. So I grasp where you're coming from for sure. Now, looking at the technology you've developed, how do you see the future of safety tech evolving from where it is today, and especially for that small, medium business person?
It's going to be amazing. If you're afraid of tech, you got to jump on board at some point in some aspect of your business. That being said, you're going to have your early adopters and your laggards like any industry, but AR, VR training, things like that. The AR aspect of hazard assessment and wearable tech. When we look at like Google glasses or those AI glasses that are coming out, the possibilities are endless, right? It's how do we adapt them to our industries and how do we make them cost effective for business, right? That's always the kicker. We work with an amazing company that does VR training for high risk industry. And it's one of the coolest things. I have a headset like back here that I get to play with and test things out for them. And, that technology is only going to improve vastly and immensely. And it's going to be so impactful to our workers going out there. It's going to evolve really quick and really fast. And once you're going to have companies that just jump and are light speed more efficient and safer and more effective from those ones that lag. So I hope people start kind of getting on just basic kind of tech and start implementing into their business and making them more efficient.
Yeah, I think one of the challenges I see is people have maybe dabbed their toe in the past, and like even you as a consultant in the field, you used a variety of tools to try and accomplish what you needed to protect people and to drive value. And a lot of people have already invested in those products, but to make another investment and it's a real education piece that has to happen, and again, something we both face is people just don't understand. And so hopefully from today's, our vlog today, some people get a clearer impression on the value that Goal Zero and you can drive for them for sure. Now, we've been talking a lot about tech, but let's talk about you in the business for a second. You're known for leading with compassion. How does that translate into your company culture?
Oh, I think, I hope, well, we have to ask the employees and our people that work with us, but I've always believed in empathy, honesty, and just leading with your heart, because I've been in too many industries that just didn't. As you go through them, right, everyone's cutthroat cold and fighting for a job. So really truly leading with empathy and compassion, you empower people to want to work with you, right? And then that translates into the care for our clients and the help for our clients and our product, right? If you can give someone value on where they want to work, how they want to work, it translates to the core of what we do. So we lead, we have an open door policy, like everyone will say, but we really say, okay, what are our challenges? How do we face them? How do we help, and how do we move forward? Everything is a learning opportunity, and no one's perfect, right? So if we get that out of the way, and just like safety, everything evolves all the time. So if you lead with that kind of heart aspect, you can always be improving, empowering people, and taking that forward through our business. So
I love that you used, it was either lean or lead forward. Maybe you can clarify. Was it lean or lead?
I'd lead, right? Like I've always
Forward.
went through
Okay.
the aspect, and this came back from all my other jobs, but I will never ask someone to do something I wouldn't do myself. Right. So
Yeah. And I think I've heard a lot of people in the past say, you fall forward, you're learning, so you fall forward. But being someone who comes from the safety world, I guess using fall forward is probably not a
Yeah.
good acronym to use. So
Yeah, we have
lead
plans
forward
against that.
sounds way more appropriate. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there's forms and programs in our software for that. There's fall protection plans. You're good.
Listen, if I'm an existing client of Goal Zero, or I'm considering Goal Zero as, a solution I should look at implementing, what's maybe a feature or detail that most users don't notice, or maybe optimize and use effectively, but you're really proud of?
Yeah, so that again, so unique to every company, which is really a learning thing you find when we get all these different companies. We have clients across North America now in different industries, and you go, everyone will latch on to one of those elements and go, oh, I use it for this and I really like this and I forgot it had this, right? And one of them is our policy bank. So again, so much effort went into creating compliant manuals for companies, right? And compliance standards. And the amount of times I get a call from someone, it's like, hey, look, I need to hire a consultant. And I go, can I ask why? Yeah, not a problem. What do you need help with? Right? Like, and they go, oh, I need this policy, this policy, this policy, employee handbook. And I'm like, we have that. Go here and we can search, or let's get on the phone. We can walk through. And they go, oh, right, I forgot about that. And I'm like, man, we have thousands of things there for you. Okay, right? So like that is one of those things that I go, wow, I wish people would take more chance of. Or the other thing where they're like, oh, I have a manual, I just want your tool. And they go, when was the last time you were audited? Well, I don't know, but I had someone build it for me in 2012. Like, please don't use that. Please do not use those. Please use the ones that we have. At least they're always up to date, right? Legislation's changed 18 times in 10 years. So, I think that would be one of the most underutilized aspects.
Yeah, I guess a good learning point might be, at the entry page to your software, or, somewhere you need to have a moniker that says, if you think you might need a consultant, or you think that this software won't do something, please reach out before you do anything else.
Yeah, there's a lot in here. Don't be overwhelmed. Ask.
Yeah. We can probably find the way to do it for you. So, or we have an easy way for you to do it. So let's not jump the gun here. One last question before we wrap up, Jackson, and we have touched on it, but I'd just like some more clarity for the people listening, because obviously this is a highly valuable product, and we see lots of highly valuable products. But there's products that what I call trifecta, and that's when they do good things for the company, for the employees, but also save money. And so this is one of those unicorn products that I think really provide an extremely valuable service and efficiency to the companies, but at the same time, it's not costing them more to invest in having your software. So can you maybe just run, and I know you even gave an example of that, but can you maybe just expand on that for us a little bit? How do businesses save money using Goal Zero?
So we have a lot of case studies. Other organizations have written this numerous times. But we can always say, for every dollar invested into safety, you're going to save $4 to $6, right? And we don't understand that because people don't look at it that way, right? When they think of lost instance, downtime, retraining, property damages, insurance premiums, yada, yada. They look at that number from an investment standpoint. And when you look at health and safety, if you look at the median salary from North America, we'll say Canada, median salary is $85,000 for a safety professional or a safety consultant, advisor, person in your team, up to $200,000 across North America. We are 95% cheaper than all of that. We are, to implement our program, we are cents on a rate sheet, right? So, we've broken this down into so much, but we have literally can save companies up to 95% of traditional needs, or we supplement their internal teams to save more of that overhead from expansion. When we look at a rate sheet, when construction looks at it, I go, find me 19 cents. And they go, what? I'm like, find me 19 cents in your rate sheet and we can implement this whole system. Right? So it really depends on how that company utilizes or learns. But it's really nothing, you know, and I mean that in the nicest way, because it is an immensely valuable service and we pride ourselves on what we do. But depending on your industry and how you look at it and what means something to you, we can say that in a lot of different ways.
Yeah, and I love how you put that, because you talk to anybody that's selling safety in some sense or another, they're going to talk about the industry stats of invest
Yep.
$1, save $4 or whatever.
Yep.
But what I love about what you have is this will save you. If you're one of those company or those business owners that we've never had an accident, so there's not an insurance, there's not a fine, there's not, we don't predict there's going to be, yeah, exactly. Why do I need this? Well, you still have to show you're compliant. You still have to, it's like buying insurance in a sense. You have to have insurance to drive your vehicle on the road. Well, there are the table stakes that you need from an occupational health and safety, and there's a cost to having that and maintaining it and providing it. And the software can simply reduce that cost even after incorporating the cost of the software. So I think that's an important point to take away from this.
Absolutely. And you can use it's funny, the marketing aspect. You can use every buzzword you want. It's what impacts a business and how do they mean it? It's like, what's it cost to protect your business? Well, that's individual for each person. I can say, for less than taking your company out for lunch, you could do this, right? Like those old marketing things, but it's really individual for every business. But the thing is, you need to do it. So find a way and find a solution that helps you and actually protect your business. Don't ignore it, because unfortunately that one time that something does happen, it's astronomical and emotional in every aspect. Whether you hurt someone, right? Whether your business goes under, you're fined, penalties, jail time, all the things that can happen. And I hope they never do for companies. You might as well try to protect yourself instead of doing the what if, right? So.
Yeah, I agree. And listen, Jackson, from one founder to another, I really appreciate and thank you for taking the risk and investing the time and money to build such a valuable solution for the SME business market.
Thank you, Toby. Thank you for letting me share some of my stories, man. And it's always a pleasure talking with you. And I know we could do this for hours, so I appreciate you taking the time to speak with me.
And if you'd like to learn more about Goal Zero and how Hyperion Business Solutions can help you save money while protecting your employees, contractors, and customers, reach out today. This is Mind at the Table, where bold ideas meet practical solutions. Follow and subscribe for more conversations that help you move the needle.